one of the most important pieces of gear in Borderlands 4 has to be the rep kits. But with so many options out there, everyone's been asking the same thing: which rep kits are actually worth farming? Well, don't worry, because really, in my opinion, there's only one option, and it blows the rest out of the water with no competition. Introducing the one, the only, the triple bypass rep kit. This thing isn't getting much love online, and I have no idea why. That's why I'm making this video. I think that this is the best rep kit in the entire game, and by the end of the video, I know for a fact that you will also agree with me. Now, what makes this thing so much better than every other rep kit in the entire game? Well, its legendary effect is only one part of why this kit is completely insane. So the legendary effect is Heart Pump. The triple bypass has 3 charges. Yep, that's right, 3 charges, and regenerates 1 charge per cooldown, not all 3. On kill, it has a 30% chance to restore a charge. There's a lot to unpack there. So not only does it have 3 charges, yes, that's right, this is the only rep kit in the entire game to have 3 charges, or rep kits can come with 2 charges, but none of them have 3 charges, at least in the base game. Not only does that give you a huge boost to survivability, but because you get a 30% chance to restore a charge on kill, you'll basically never run out. Every few kills, you're getting a free use. So even stock without any rolls, this thing is incredible for survivability and mobbing. But there has to be more, right? Just having 3 charges alone doesn't make it the best rep kit in Borderlands 4, and you're completely right. Because the real overpowered part, just like most weapons in this game, or at least pieces of gear, comes from the secondary rolls this rep kit can spawn with, and it basically could spawn with anything. As you'll see on screen, the triple bypass can roll with multiple different secondary effects that buffs you, the character, or your weapon. Now, for example, just to name a few, you have a fire rate roll, a 15% increased fire rate for 15 seconds after using your rep kit, and of course you have 3 uses, and of course you regen a use after 4 kills pretty much, or you should regen it because of that 30% chance to regen per kill. So you're basically going to have a stock increased fire rate for 15 seconds every 15 seconds, as long as you just continually pop it. Now combine that with the 3 charges, again, a charge regen mechanic, and constant uptime, you start to see why the triple bypass becomes absolutely broken. Depending on what role you get, you could literally one-shot bosses if you have, let's say, an amp effect matched with an amp shield, hit crazy DPS spikes because of that fire rate increase, or, anything else like that. If you have a fire rate increase, you're able to shoot more bullets, you're able to get more out, especially with like a Rafa build where you have infinite ammo. If you pop one of these things, and if you shoot like a Kyozen SMG at a boss, you reload within the 15 seconds, and that boss will be nowhere to be seen. He'll be completely obliterated. Or you could even run around at Mach 10 speeds, because you can get a roll that boosts your movement speed as well. But I'll break down the best rolls in 1 second. There's a few more things that make this rep kit even crazier. Another cool feature of the triple bypass is that it also comes in different sizes, which can be pretty annoying depending on if you're trying to farm a large one, but it comes in small, medium, and large, so it obviously just adds a little bit more to the farm, and this directly affects how much HP you restore each time you use a rep kit. So the large obviously gives you the most amount of HP back, and the small gives you the smallest amount of HP back. So you could get a kit that gives you a broken stat buff and instantly heals you back to full HP, and again, you get 3 uses, plus you get that awesome recharge on kills, which is pretty insane. But the small ones aren't even terrible. They will 100% get you to at least half health, or maybe give you a third of your health back. At least you have 3 of them. The medium one will definitely give you half of your health, or a little bit over half of your health back, which is nice, especially if you have a shield where you're able to pick up some boosters and get your shield capacity back and give yourself a little bit of the health. And then obviously the large should be able to instantly heal you back to full HP. Doesn't really matter what your HP is. You pop 1 or maybe 2 and you're good to go. So that's kind of how you look at it, and that's why it also comes with 3. But again, the biggest buff to this rep kit isn't going to be the amount of HP you get back, because this isn't This really isn't a healing tool. This is more of a damage tool because, again, you could get some pretty crazy rolls that I'm going to break down in a second. But before we get into that, I want to give you all of the information. So if you're wondering how to farm one of these bad boys for yourself, thankfully it's super easy. But however, you will be spending a pretty long amount of time farming this bad boy, depending on what roles you want and depending on what size you want. If you don't really care about survivability and if you're just using it for that extra amp or using it for fire rate or something like that, then you could go ahead and get a small one. However, though, if this is going to be something that you're going after because you need more survivability, then obviously I suggest you go after a large rep kit. But you could get the triple bypass as a dedicated legendary drop from the backhive mini boss. You'll just need to run through the claim Auger Mine. You don't even have to kill anything, just sprint straight to the end, and then boom, you will have the boss. The backhive is also super easy. It's actually just like a callback to Borderlands 1, 2, and 3 with the rack hive, but not a very difficult boss to fight at all. I highly suggest you just go in there on hard mode or UVHM1 because there's no different in drop rates, and go after it, because if you're struggling, you don't need to fight this boss on normal and you don't need to fight this boss on easy. It's not a very difficult boss. I promise. It doesn't have that insane of attacks, and there's also a decent amount of enemies around that you'll be able to get a second wind off of. But again, it is an extremely easy farm. However, you will have to put in the work if you do want to get specific roles. I've probably farmed the backhive, I don't know, 3,000 times so far, maybe, give or take. I've probably spent a good 20, 15, 17 hours just farming the backhive to get all of the triple bypass rolls that I wanted, which, again, I'm going to talk about in a second. But just keep that in mind. It doesn't always drop with a roll, and there are a bunch of different secondary rolls that you can get that will unfortunately increase the amount of time that you're going to have to spend farming. Now you know how to get this thing, what it does, and why it's so special. Finally, let's break down the best roles that you want for a secondary on this thing. I will leave a link in the description to a article about the triple bypass, or really just, the Loot Lemon page with about the triple bypass. I highly suggest you check it out. It has all of the roles and everything, where to get it, and just more information on it. So I'm going to break down all of the roles that I use. It's not too many of them. It's really only 4, and once you get these 4, you literally will not need another rep kit because it does all of them. Alright, so in my opinion, Amp is the best role in the entire game. It grants 200% extra damage on the first shot after use. Again, you get 3 of them, and then also within those 3, you have a 90% chance of restoring 1 of your charges, so just keep that in mind. If you want to one-shot bosses, this is the rep kit that you 100% need. With 3 charges, again, you can basically delete any boss that, you go after. Doesn't matter if it's a 2-stage boss or a 3-stage boss, you have all of the charges that you could possibly need. So Amp is the best for bossing. If you don't have any issue bossing and you want to go for something that's going to increase your survivability with mobbing, then next we have Fire Rate. Now, it increases fire rate by 15% for 10 seconds, which is the example one that I use just because it has quickly become one of my favorite roles in the entire game. But this thing is perfect for mobbing or high DPS weapons, and honestly, it could be more useful than the Amp depending on whatever situation you're in, or if you're using an SMG or something like that. I just use the Amp with my, beam tosser or a spread launcher, and I'm able to one-shot any boss. But if you're running a SMG build, this is the one for you. It doesn't matter what you're running, though. You shred everything from trash mobs to literally the Vault Guardian, so just keep that in mind. Now, also, I don't have it on here because I don't have a overshield build, but there is one that will also add to your overshield. So if you do have an overshield build, that one would be perfect for you. I don't know exactly what it does. Check the Loot Lemon page down in the description again. But it does give you, I believe it gives you a overshield or an energy shield or something like that. But if you have one of those builds, that's also for you. That's just not one of the particular roles that I have on this list, but it can do anything. So now there also are some other roles that I don't use too often. However, I feel like they needed to be mentioned, just because they are still incredibly great depending on your build. Again, like that overshield one, I apologize, I'm blanking. I don't know exactly what it does, but there are a couple of other good rolls that I want to break down real quick. Another great roll, again, depending on what your build is and what you're using, what you're going after. Sometimes I like to use the reload roll on the rep kit as well, which gives you a 15% faster reload for 10 seconds. Now, this is a must-have for a TD or Chuck build or anything reload heavy. Again, I like using it on the 7th pistol just because you do have to reload so often with that thing if you want to get the most DPS out of it. So again, I will show footage of that as well, cutting here and there throughout this video. But whenever I use like a revolver or anything, this is kind of the one. Whenever I use a Jacobs, this is the one. Or if you have a TD or Rafa build, this is the one for you, because the faster you chuck, the more damage you do. The faster you reload, the faster you chuck, and the more damage you do, you're killing bosses. Next up, I did mention it also, there is a ridiculously fun one, the movement speed one. It increases, or 40% increase to movement speed for 10 seconds, which is absolutely broken. Now, I use this one probably the most because you just have to run around like bunkers or anything. It's perfect for running through bunkers, auger mines, farming routes, or bosses far from the entrance. Once you get used to that speed boost, you'll hate using anything but that. You'll hate running without it. It is just ridiculously broken. 40% may not seem like a lot, but it is a huge movement boost. And again, I'm sure if you have this on a Vex that has a movement build or something like that, you are going to fly through the map. You probably won't even need a car. It's very broken, and it reminds me of, like the Axton in Borderlands 2, the glitch where you run around at the speed of light and everything. But reload speed, movement speed, you have, fire rate increase, and then also amp damage, and there is one that gives you an overshield as well. This rep kit is so good because it's kind of like Ditto from Pokemon. It could do whatever you need it to do. You just have to farm the roll, which I get can be time consuming. But if you need extra amp damage, go for the one with amp. If you want increased fire rate, go for the one with the fire rate. If you want increased reload speed, go with the one with reload speed. If you just want a great survivability rep kit, the best one in the entire game, then go with the triple bypass. You get 3 charges. If you get a large one, you'll heal yourself instantly every single time. You won't need another rep kit ever. I know I only covered a few rolls, but you get the idea. These are just the ones that I use on my characters every single day, but the triple bypass is absolutely insane. It gives you 3 uses, more than any other in the entire game. Constant buff uptime of whatever you need buff, because it could literally roll with any buff. Full heals, and it rolls with some of the strongest stat boots in the entire game. It is miles above every other rep kit simply because it could fit any playstyle. DPS, survivability, movement, you name it, it doesn't matter. If you need a rep kit to boost a certain stat, this is the one for you. This will boost whatever you need. If you use a certain rep kit because it gives you an overshield, switch to this one. If you use a certain rep kit because it gives you amp, switch to this one. It literally is the best rep kit in the entire game. I don't understand why people disagree. But hey, if you think another rep kit is better, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to being proven wrong. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, hit that sub, and as always, I appreciate you motherfuckers for watching this motherfucking video. Good luck out there, and happy grinding.